Hi guys, welcome back to another pick a card reading. So in this reading we'll be answering the question, are you on the right path? So if you'd like to take a moment to just sit and relax and try and let your intuition guide you to the correct pile in which will have your answer. So take a moment to sit and work out which one of the cards you are the most drawn to. You can pause the video if you'd like. So here we have pile number 1 with the amethyst palmstone. We have pile number 2 with the rose quartz heart. We have pile number 3 with the clear quartz crystal. And we have pile number 4 with the blue chalcedony. So take a minute to sit and see which one resonates with you the most, which has the answer underneath explaining whether you are on the right path. You can pause the video if you'd like, take a deep breath, relax, center yourself, don't rush it. If you are finding it difficult to decide, I would say pick the one that you were initially drawn to. And if you can't choose between two cards, perhaps there are two different meanings that you need to hear about. So I would probably watch both of them to see if either of them resonates. And timestamps of each of the cards are listed in the description below and in the comment box. So click on the one which resonates with you the most and I'll see you when you're reading. Okay, so if you picked pile number 1 with the amethyst palmstone, this is the reading about whether you are on the right path. So first we have the Lovers, we have the Two of Fire, and we have Boundaries. So when we have the cards the Lovers in reverse, this can indicate that something is imbalanced, usually to do with either self-love or love with another partner. So there's some kind of imbalance, something isn't quite right, perhaps you're not in tune with yourself if this is talking about you. There's something that you're maybe ignoring within yourself, or it could be that you're with a partner and there is some kind of imbalance here. We also have the Two of Fire, which talks about companionship. As you can see, there's two people represented here. This could be, in one hand, the two different sides of you coming together. Perhaps there is something that you're denying about yourself. Maybe there's some kind of talent or skill that you didn't want to pursue, and you're not kind of in tune with yourself necessarily. But this also could represent another person and how perhaps you're not in tune together, you're trying to come together in a partnership, and there is some imbalance here in the partnership. When we have the card Boundaries, underneath it says, where do you need to establish better boundaries? So in this respect, I would say, in terms of these cards being about you in particular, it could be there are some kind of boundaries that you let other people dictate what you do with your life. And you're not kind of in tune with yourself here. You let other people, there's lots of different hands here. They're grabbing this person, pulling them in different ways, influencing them. So she's sort of going no here. She's got her hands out and she's saying, I don't want this, stay away. So I feel like the guidance here is that there is some kind of outside influence that is stopping you and making you feel a little bit imbalanced at the moment. So in terms of being on the right path at the moment, that's what I would say here, is that there is some imbalance in who you are as a person and what you're doing and whether you're actually listening to yourself fully. And it's asking to take some boundaries. If this is to do with another person, you're in a partnership perhaps, perhaps this is saying that they have a very strong influence on you. Perhaps they enforce, they're sort of like my way or the highway, and you're kind of sacrificing what you want to do and yourself for this other person, and it's asking you to put some boundaries up here. So let's just clarify again with The message here is pile number 1, are they on the correct path? And if not, so we have the King of Pentacles just come out, and we have the Seven of Pentacles. So when we have the King of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles together, this indicates prosperity. This guy, he's very wealthy, the King of Pentacles. He's got, you know, an expensive watch. He is a wealthy person. He's got it all. And here we have Seven of Pentacles, which talks about, you know, you reap what you sow, essentially. So the seeds that you've been planting at the moment, they are growing and they are sprouting, and you're seeing the benefits from it. So I would say in terms of the path that you're on at the moment, you're definitely on the right path in terms of financial gain. That's definitely looking positive for you. And I would just like to say, you could be a fire sign. So that's Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. So this could be you represented here, or it could be the fact that you have, or if it is to do with the partnership, it could be that they're a fire sign. And this is the imbalance here. But I would say there is this kind of fiery nature within the kind of the centre of the reading. So I feel like you are very passionate, you are a very fiery person. There is a lot inside of you. And you can kind of come together here. You are definitely working on something financially. But because the financial card here is next to the Lovers in reverse, it could be that perhaps you're doing something which definitely does create a financial gain, but perhaps it goes against something that's inside of you here that you're kind of trying to ignore a little bit. So perhaps the way in which you've gained the monetary value and the way in which you're kind of reaping everything is perhaps not in alignment with how you really wish that you could get the money. And when we have the Seven of Pentacles on top of here with boundaries, I think this is sort of showing me that when you place the boundaries a little bit more, then, you know, you will get a lot more benefit from it. You know, here when the moon is represented in a card, it talks about listening to your intuition and being sort of divinely guided. So I would say she's being, you know, she's really listening to the signs and herself and her intuition. And, you know, she's sort of on her own in this respect. She's very happy. She's enjoying her time gardening and, you know, sowing the seeds so that she can see what she's grown. So it could be here, because this is kind of a corporate card. You know, he cares about monetary gains. It could be that, you know, perhaps there is a bit too much of a focus on a monetary gain here. And perhaps, you know, the cards are sort of saying, if you do listen to your intuition a little bit more and come together and come to alignment with yourself, this is very much coming to an alignment card. And place those boundaries where they're needed, and, you know, listen to yourself, sort of ignore what everyone else is saying here, then you will definitely get this wealth and this sort of abundance, and it will be only you who would have created it. You know, it wouldn't be this other person here, it would have been just you that's created this, this abundance for yourself. So I'm just going to clarify again with... this is from the Oracle of Light deck. So, just to clarify, what is the thing in which perhaps pile number 1 needs to be thinking about at the moment to get them on their path? So if you can just pop out for me. Oh, Christ. Okay, well, I'm just going to do that again. So what is the message for pile number 1? What do they need to be working on at the moment? Oh. Okay. So we have get grounded and we have mirror. Okay, interesting. Just want to check if you can see that a second. Okay, so when we have get grounded, it talks about empaths, highly sensitives, connect with nature. So perhaps you are quite an empath, and you are a highly sensitive person who is very in tune with everything, and everything does really affect you, in terms of this having boundaries coming up in the same reading. You're getting this external influence from other people, and you are very perceptive. And I think this is a huge strength, being perceptive and being understanding of others, because it really helps you actually get in tune with yourself a lot more. A lot of people who are not necessarily highly sensitive can quite easily fall into a trap of feeling denial and not understanding that they're there. So you do have this intuition, this ability to get grounded and to understand yourself in a much deeper level. So I feel like this is the advice which is being given at the moment. The other meaning for get grounded is spending time in nature and, really sort of going barefoot in the soil and gardening. It's sort of like reconnecting with, with the root chakra, which is talking about the roots and being grounded, and it talks about your stability. So perhaps there is an element here of needing to kind of go back to the basics, work out what's your foundation, what are the layers of your foundation here? Are they set upon something that you believe in strongly, or are they kind of something that you have just been told to do? So when we have the mirror card, we have who or what is triggering you. So when this card comes up next to the boundaries, again, I feel like there's somebody here, there's this duality here, two people that's not quite in alignment here. So perhaps you're in a relationship, or you're involved with somebody, or perhaps it's even a best friend who is holding you back in some way. There is this need, there is this kind of want to come together and, have this companionship, because there is this imbalance here. Perhaps you're feeling, maybe there's this feeling of loneliness, and you have this need for companionship, but actually perhaps it's a little bit toxic. In this card we actually have their hair is intertwined together, and they're basically mirroring each other, they're basically the same person, but at the end of the day everyone is individual. So perhaps it is showing that, get back to your individuality, and don't get too intertwined with somebody else. Perhaps there's somebody that you're living with at the moment, and there is a lack of boundaries. Perhaps they're dictating how you live your life. Perhaps they're influencing you. It doesn't have to be that they're dictating, it doesn't have to be that they're doing anything particularly wrong, or that you are doing anything particularly wrong. It can just be that because you're such an empathetic person, and because you're very kind of connected to other people, it's easy for people to influence you. And it's about getting grounded, making sure that the foundation on which you live your life upon is in alignment with what you want to be doing. And with this mirror card, again, it says who or what is triggering you. Is somebody, if you'll kind of go towards this path and you're kind of, on the right path, somebody comes in the way here and, seems to upset this. I don't really know exactly, perhaps this resonates with you. But yeah, there is this element of this mirror, and there is this element of like another woman, really. Another female. I mean, you could be a man, so so perhaps that's irrelevant, but it's somebody who is very similar to you, I feel. Somebody who's really similar to you, and it's basically asking you to go about it alone, because when you go alone, you're going to reap the benefits from it. And at the moment, they're kind of, it's almost like she's trying to get somewhere, but she's stopped because this other person is here, and sort of, maybe she's giving her negativity. I keep saying she, but it really could be a different gender. It's just represented in the cards here. So the person who is similar to you could be, you could be going, oh, well, I want to go down this path, and they're like, no, but that's not what you do. You do this, and then you go, okay, I do this then. Because maybe there's a little bit of a kind of a lack of self-assurance here. or maybe you do have this self-assurance. I thought there is this fiery nature that you have inside of you, but you know, it's being kind of pulled in different directions, and there's a sort of, you know, it's about kind of getting down to exactly and standing up for yourself, basically. So I'm just going to pull the final card, which is from the Angel Oracle deck, that will just shed a little bit of light on the final answer in which you need to hear today about whether you are on the right path. Ooh, gosh. Okay, so we have go for it. Your prayers and positive expectations have been heard and answered. We've been working with you on this situation since its genesis, and we continue to watch over you and everyone involved. Stay on your present path, as it will take you very far indeed. Okay, so this is clarification here that you do have, you know, you are on the right path. This is kind of what this is showing me. Perhaps there is some hesitation here that you've been questioning whether to do something, and then other people have gotten involved and you're sort of questioning whether it's something that you really need to be doing. And I think this is sort of saying, yes, listen to yourself, listen to what it is that you want to be doing. Don't worry about what anyone else has to say. You know, this is divinely guided. Stay on. Okay guys, sorry about that. So my camera just got cut off temporarily there. So basically, yes, this card is talking about there is something that you have either been thinking about, or that you've started to do, or that you're kind of have been doing for a while but you don't want to show anybody yet, perhaps. And this is saying that this is the thing that you're thinking about, the thing that you're doing is definitely the right thing to be doing, which is going to lead you down the path that you need to be going down, and it's going to reap this benefit that we have here. So yes, I'm really excited for you. I really hope it goes well for you, and I hope that, you know, you do trust in yourself and you don't let other people get too involved and cut you off in any way. Okay guys, so that's everything that I have for you today. I really hope this resonated with you. If it did, please like the video and let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. See you in my next reading. Bye! Okay, if you chose pile number 2 with the rose quartz heart crystal, this is the reading all about whether you are on the right path. So first we have the Princess of Cups in reverse, we have the Nine of Cups, and we have Perception, and we have Sisterhood of the Rose. Just going to check that you can see that properly. Okay, so when we have the Princess of Cups in reverse, this can talk about not listening to some kind of message, perhaps. I mean, when it's in the upright, you know, she's listening to her intuition, she's very intuitive, she's very in tune with everything. And when it's in the reverse, you know, there's some kind of imbalance here. It can also talk about having outbursts that you're not really sure where they come from. So because if you don't listen to kind of your intuition, it can get built up, so you could have angry outbursts and sort of not really know where they're coming from and not really understand where your emotions have kind of come from in this respect. So it could be this feeling of feeling very over emotional and not really sure what the matter is, what the problem is, and kind of dealing with this over sort of instability of emotions. But when we have the Nine of Cups, this talks about wish fulfillment. So this is really about, you know, having your dreams come true. So perhaps there's some kind of element here which is talking about how, because you're not 100% in sort of listening to yourself 100%, there is this kind of wish fulfillment that wants to come in but is kind of being blocked by this. And then we have Perception. So this card talks about, you know, being sort of open, receiving messages, being perceptive. And I feel like there is this need to listen to something that perhaps you're not listening to at the moment. And then we have Sisterhood of the Rose. So this says beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, teacher. So there is this element of being a spiritual person. So there's this element of intuition throughout here, I kind of feel. Perception, you know, somebody who is a priestess, a mystic, is somebody who's very in tune with their intuition and what it is what they want out of life and their emotions. It could also be that maybe you are a teacher, or maybe you're thinking about being a teacher, and that is something that you need to look at to take you down the right path. But there is this feeling here of not quite listening, and being on the brink of this wish fulfillment here. So I'm just going to clarify this with some other cards. So if the person who is watching this is not quite on the right path, what is it that they could be doing? What is stopping? Oh, hang on. Got a few cards that come out here. So we have the Eight of Wands. What do they need to know about whether they are on the right path? Pile number 2, are they on the right path? Oh, crap. Okay, so we have the Five of Swords in reverse, and we have the Knight of Wands. Interesting. Okay, so when we have the Eight of Wands and we also have the Knight of Wands, this is talking about really going for something, so really fast moving towards something. You know, the Knight of Wands is very ambitious. It sort of represents being a risk taker, and, you know, really going for your goals and having high ambitions. So I would basically say, but the Five of Swords in reverse, this is kind of showing that there is some conflict here. This represents an element of conflict, perhaps between the two. So it's almost like you're trying to get there. There is this kind of conflict, and then which is stopping you from getting from this ambition, this kind of success that you kind of have inside of you. I do feel like there is a lot of fire kind of representation here. Perhaps you're a fire sign. You could also be a water sign because we have cups. So fire and water, the two elements here that's represented, don't have to be, that's fine. Don't worry. So I kind of see that there is this moving towards this wish fulfillment. There is this kind of progression towards wish fulfillment. There is this real desire for it. You know, it's like you feel like you're on the brink of doing it, you're really almost there, but there's this kind of really strong emotion which is almost tied to this wish fulfillment. Perhaps there's something that you really want to be doing, but because there's such this strong kind of emotion linked to that, it's stopping you from manifesting it. Perhaps there's some kind of negative emotion which is linked to this. So for example, if you have a negative view of money, or you have a negative view of love, you know, it's going to be quite hard for you to manifest those things into your life, because you're going to be thinking about the negative ways in which they can impact your life and not the positive ways, and you're going to be quite overwhelmed with that. So perhaps there's this element of, you know, there is this conflict which maybe there's kind of like you're trying to ignore it. I'm sorry if this sounds a little bit confusing. This is kind of what I'm getting here, is that this ignoring of intuition, this kind of ignoring of the conflict. And this is all about forgiveness as well. So perhaps there is somebody that you need to forgive, maybe it's yourself, in order to move forward here. There's definitely this element of the path that you're on is a very spiritual one. Perhaps you are some kind of mystic or teacher, and there is this inner conflict here, or this sort of almost like a lack of awareness of your emotions, which is stopping you from getting there. So I'm just going to clarify what the message is here. with the next cards that I pull out. So yeah, because I'm kind of feeling like there is this defiance, this like defiant sort of sword energy here, which is showing me there's some kind of pushback. You know, it's almost like this quite bold pushback energy, when really all you want to be doing is being this mystic teacher who, you know, all about beauty and femininity and kind of intuition, but there's almost like this sort of fiery kind of blockage in the middle, which is stopping you from getting there. And I feel like it's something that you've not quite resolved, possibly. So what is the kind of main advice here for group number 2? If there's something perhaps that they haven't quite resolved that's in their way from kind of getting to this goal that they want to get to. Okay. So just pop out what is the message for group number 2, because it doesn't look hugely... Okay. Okay, so play. Again, this is this kind of... you know, she's quite relaxed, she's open, she's perceiving, she's perceptive, she's relaxed, she's enjoying life, and there's this element of kind of, it's almost like you're really tense and you're really stressed and really emotional and stressed about something, which, and you sort of want to get there, and you're kind of getting there through this like stressed out way. And I feel like the answer here is kind of relax, have fun, celebrate, don't be too serious. Don't kind of worry too much about the negativities of what it is that you're trying to manifest here, on the path that you should be going on. It does seem like you are kind of on the right path, but it almost seems like you're attacking it in the wrong way. You're kind of coming from an attacking position instead of an enjoying position. So let's just clarify that again. You know, she's literally sitting in a cocktail here. So, you know, she's basking in the sunlight, in the moonlight, she's enjoying life, she's like, I'm ambitious, but, you know, I'm still chilled out about it, and I'm still, you know, I'm not sweating the small stuff, I'm not getting too over-emotional about something. You know, I'm not saying don't get over-emotional, because we all get completely over-emotional, but usually when you feel over-emotional, it's because you're not listening to something inside of you. So, and you're kind of not necessarily getting to the root of what's causing you this stress. Perhaps you already know. Maybe you already know where the stress is coming from. Okay, so... And it could be the fact of the stress is coming from somebody who's very ambitious. Maybe this is a person that's represented here for you. It could be that somebody is sort of, you know, you're kind of on this lovely path of fulfillment, and there's this block here of this person who is maybe trying to take control of the situation, and this is conflict. So I'm just going to clarify what is the message that they need to hear about whether they're on the right path, pile number 2. Show me what the message is for pile number 2. What is their message that they need to hear? Oh, awakening. Energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. Okay, again, this is this almost like surrendering. When the moon is in a card, this normally talks about your intuition. So this is almost like surrendering to your intuition. Surrendering to the universe, surrendering and saying, you know what, I can't control the situation. I can't, you know, control everything. I have to kind of let it take its course to get to this relaxed and beautiful state of mind. That I feel like this is the path that you kind of want to be going on, really, is this kind of relaxed state of mind. This is the goal. Maybe you are a teacher, maybe you are looking at tarot or some kind of mystic teacher in some way. Maybe you want to give advice to people. maybe you just want a relaxed life and you feel like the way to get there is to kind of push through and, you know, be stressed out and be forceful, but really the answer is you know, the different path is here, and that you don't actually have to feel this stress. You can actually playfully reach the goal that you want to get to. So, I mean, I feel like you're definitely on the right path. You're definitely going in the right direction. I definitely get this feeling that you are definitely, whatever it is you're working towards at the moment is the right thing to be doing. However, the way in which you do it and the stress levels in which you do it, part number two, it doesn't need to be so stressful. Please have a moment to enjoy and just trust that, you know, everything that you're doing is completely the right thing to be doing. Don't stress out about the small stuff too much. Don't worry about trying to prove yourself to people, you know, or maybe it's yourself that you're trying to prove yourself to. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to leave this reading with one final message. Group number 2, who chose the rose quartz heart crystal. What is their parting message that they need to hear today about whether they are on the right path? Oh my gosh. Okay, so I mean, you can't make this up. It literally says joy. Joy. Take it easy, guys. Lighten up. You know, I don't want to sound like I'm saying lighten up, because there may be something that genuinely is stressful in your life that, you know, does cause stress. But I think the point here is, even if there is something really stressful, it's about changing the way that you approach the situation. So perhaps, you know, let's say there is a conflict. You know, this kind of card is also about forgiveness. It's about resolving an issue. So maybe there is somebody that you need to forgive here. Maybe there's something about working together with somebody. And, you know, it can definitely be stressful. You know, things can be very stressful, and life is stressful, let's be honest. However, the way in which you go towards a problem can be one of, you know, trying to resolve it from a positive angle, or it can be one of, I'm too overwhelmed, I'm too stressed out to deal with this, and it kind of escalates a little bit in your mind and escalates to this kind of really overwhelming kind of feeling. And I think the answer here is to, maybe you need to practice some meditation, maybe you need to just take a bit of breather time to yourself, you know, breathing time to yourself. Take a minute to relax, take a minute to just enjoy life, you know. If you like to drink, have a little drink. So I'm just going to read it out to you. It says, joy is the highest energy of all. It's the magical sense that everything is possible. Joy springs from appreciating the gifts within each moment. Joy allows you to attract and create your present and future moments at their highest possible levels. So I feel like really, you know, the answer to manifesting the right thing that you want to create here and getting on the path is you're on the right path, you know, and you're stressing out a bit much. And the point is that you need to enjoy the path that you've created for yourself here. I definitely sense that you are on the right path. If that's the answer, if that's the question, you know, that you want the answer for, that is the answer. You are on the right path. And the way that you need to do it is to just relax a little bit more, enjoy life, because I just get the feeling that you have earned it. I just get the feeling that you have absolutely earned it, and, you know, whatever it is that's stressing you out isn't that big of a deal. It's not going to stop you from getting to where you want to be. So, you know, try not to get too stressed out by it, and try to relax and just enjoy your time and your life. So yeah, I feel like that's everything that I have for you today. I really hope this resonated with you. I really hope you enjoyed this reading and got something out of it. If you did enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up and maybe comment below about why it resonated with you. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys! Okay, so if you picked pile number 3, this is your reading about whether you are on the right path at the moment. So I just have to note that when I did the shuffle for these cards initially, I did get this overwhelming sort of feeling of grief and sadness, and this kind of very still, quiet kind of melancholy feeling. I'm sorry, that was upside down, wasn't it? So yeah, I just wanted to mention that. If that does resonate with you, you might be feeling a little bit sad at the moment. So let me just check that you can see that properly. So yeah, so we do have the Three of Swords in reverse, we have the King of Swords in reverse, we have the Four of Water, and we have Leap. So I feel like perhaps the feeling that I was getting initially is this feeling of heartbreak, but I feel like you're getting over the heartbreak, and this is kind of the path that I'm seeing at the moment. I do feel like there is this water kind of energy here, this very emotional. This card represents compassion and kind of opening up your heart. We have the heart represented here, so the heart chakra is open, and the third eye as well. So this is sort of saying that, there's an element of surrender here to the process of life. So I kind of feel like when the King of Swords is upright, it sort of talks about, this very strong intellectual person. But when it's in reverse, it talks about, this kind of misuse of intellect, a kind of manipulation. So I am wondering whether this is sort of related in that there was somebody who sort of emotionally manipulated you in some way and used this sort of had this sort of mental hold over you. Because it does seem like you are this very open, compassionate, emotional person. It could be that you are a water sign. This is kind of represented at the moment, so Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. And I feel like somebody took advantage of this, an emotional, kind of compassionate person that you are. And I really feel like the message that is sort of showing me here right now is that there was this heartbreak, that there was this person that did manipulate you and take advantage of you. But this is the path that, this is kind of what happens, unfortunately, when you are this very compassionate person, is that people will take advantage of you. Now, I'm not saying that that's, something that should have happened, but I do feel like this is a lesson in that, when you have your heart open, it can get prone to being broken. And the point is not to close off because this happens, but to go, okay, that happened. That means this person just took advantage of me. That's not my fault. That's not something that I have done. In fact, he or she found something that was really good in me and decided to try to abuse it. And that doesn't mean that you should then, stop being loving, stop being compassionate, stop being open. If anything, it means that that is your strength and that is your path, and this is going to take you to the path that you need to be on, is to keep that open heart, that open mind, keep that open, emotional energy that you have, and do not let this person affect that in that way. When we have the Leap card here, we have you go first, the universe will catch you. This is about surrendering. When we have the moon represented, this normally means intuition. So this is about surrendering to the universe, mystic messages that might be sent to you. There's this element of sort of moving on from this person, which it's almost like this person is like a greyed out version of this person here. She's very colourful. So it's almost like this person is your old self who perhaps was held back in some way, and, you know, kind of feels a bit like she's looking away and she's not quite her full self, whereas this is like stepping into who you actually are, taking a leap and trusting in the universe and trusting that you've been given this beautiful compassion and this compassionate energy for a reason. And just because somebody takes advantage of it does not mean that that it's negative for you to have that. It's definitely not negative for you to have that. It's just showing me that you are this, you know, this expansive person, somebody who can really kind of, you know, get onto this next level of kind of enlightenment as well. So I'm just going to clarify with the message that's been given here. So is pile number 3, are they on the right path at the moment? And if they are, what is the message? And if they're not, what is the message? What is it that they need to hear right now? Oh, okay. Okay, so we have the 10 of Swords in the same reading. So this is this feeling of being betrayed and kind of getting over that betrayal. So we have, you know, these are all sort of in the reverse. I feel like it's sort of maybe in the recent past. It's something that you're kind of struggling with, or it could be something that's in the past that you're kind of still carrying with you a little bit. I do feel like there's this kind of hurt, this betrayal by this person who has manipulated you. And, you know, the right path for you is to kind of get over that and to not let that kind of continue with you on your path, on your journey. And as well, when we have this card in reverse, the 10 of Swords, this is kind of talking about a transformation of the way that you kind of, a mindset shift as well, a transformation. You know, it can represent feeling kind of the victim, basically, and then going, do you know what, I'm kind of not going to feel that way anymore, and this transformation of kind of bringing yourself out of that. So I do feel like you have been betrayed. This is why I'm feeling this really strange sense of melancholy. I don't know if it's, to me it doesn't feel like it's fresh. It doesn't feel like it's something that is happening like right now. It feels like it's something that happened in the recent past, or something that you're still kind of carrying along with you from the past. And it's sort of showing me that it's sort of showing me that, you know, this is something that affected you previously, and it's still something that you're kind of having to move on from. I kind of feel like this is what you need to be doing to kind of move forward. So again, with this kind of feeling of like feeling a victim, so you feel like somebody took advantage of you, somebody broke your heart, somebody betrayed you, somebody betrayed your trust, somebody used this against you and you made it into your weakness. However, I feel like this is definitely your strength. This is 100% your strength and what you need to kind of see as your strength and to understand and to trust that it is your strength. So let me just clarify with another card. If we can clarify the 4 of Water. Are they on the right path? We can just clarify the 4 of Water. Are they on the right path? Oh god, okay, a few cards came out then. Let me just see which one it is. Oh, okay. Alright, so there's this feeling of, there's a lot of sword energy here. So there is this feeling of feeling blindfolded and having, you know, having all these kind of options and this, the ability, but feeling kind of restricted. But the point of this 8 of Swords, of this card, is that you're the one who is blindfolding yourself. You're the one who is actually restricting yourself at this point now. This person has done something but you're now carrying it with you, is how I feel. I feel like the burden of it is kind of still with you, and it's still weighing on your heart. So I just want to know, how can pile number 3, what's the clarity here? Okay, interesting. So we have the moon, and that really gives me a similar sense to this card here, where we have the moon represented a lot here. I really feel like, so the moon is talking about mystic messages, it's talking about listening to your intuition, it's talking about trusting the universe. And this is basically the same message here. So you are divinely guided, you are on the right path. This strength is taking you on the correct path. Unfortunately, when you are so open, so compassionate, so loving, so emotional, this can happen. However, it's not something, it's not the only thing that can happen when you have this strength. You can tap into this beautiful intuition, this, sense. If you could sort of tap into what it is that the universe is asking you to do with this strength, that will be kind of the message that I'm kind of feeling at the moment. So yeah, I really feel like you are really intuitive. I do feel like you are a water sign, to be honest with you. And I feel like you are emotional, I feel like you are very intuitive, and that is definitely your strength. So what is the overall message for pile number 3? Let's get a bit more clarity. What can they do with this beautiful intuition, this wonderful kind of caring nature that they have? How can they use it to get to kind of the path that they need to get to? Okay, so I'm just gonna, I tend to like it to kind of spring out instead of me picking it. So, okay, what do they need to hear? Pile number 3, what do they need to hear in this moment? Okay, so we have 2 cards. We have Soul Family. Pop that there. Call in your tribe, you don't have to do it alone. We also have Star Mother, how can you mother yourself? Interesting. Okay, so when we have Soul Family and Star Mother, I mean, this is basically, I feel like you are kind of dealing with a lot of hurt at the moment, and I feel like when you are dealing with a lot of hurt, it's really difficult to see whether you're on the right path. It's difficult to kind of navigate everything on your own. You kind of do feel alone, you do feel rejected, and that can kind of leave you in a bit of a low vibration, low self-esteem situation here. So it's asking you to call on your soul family, ask people who are close to you, people who you genuinely can trust, and maybe it's about kind of talking to them and opening up to them and leaning on your support system in this time. I also feel like with Star Mother, how can you mother yourself? I feel like you are this very compassionate, open, loving person, and you have this amazing ability of making another person feel very loved. But in this moment in time, you're sort of neglecting yourself here. So how can you use this amazing compassion that you have, this amazing intuition, and what would you say to yourself if you were talking to somebody who'd been through everything that you'd been through, and you were giving them advice and you were showing them love? How would you speak to them? What would you say to them? What would your advice be? Think about what kind of advice you would give somebody else, and then try to take that. Be kind to yourself. Self-care, self-love is needed in this moment. It's about being really kind to yourself and trusting in the universe, allowing yourself to heal. I really feel like there's this healing energy that, they kind of have their eyes closed and they're sort of meditating and trying to heal each other, she's trying to heal herself, and it's this kind of energy of needing to rest and heal from this experience. Okay, I feel like that is kind of what's going to take you in terms of, are you on the right path? I feel like you are on the right path. This needs to be healed, essentially. I feel like this is something that's still resonating with you, but it doesn't have to. And by leaning on your friends, by looking inward, by trusting the universe, by getting, using those amazing spiritual abilities that you have, I really feel like you do have, a third eye is represented here. I feel like you do have the ability to be very spiritual. You could be somebody already who's very spiritual. And if you're not, maybe this is something that you need to be open to and having a little look at, and how it can kind of affect your life and how it can improve your life in some way. And yeah, getting in touch with yourself is something, and leaning on this kind of loving nature as a strength, building that strength back up, nurturing yourself, nurturing the people who are close to you, letting them nurture you, letting yourself nurture yourself, opening up and trusting. So I'm just going to pull out a final message, which is from my Angel Oracle cards. What's the final? Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. New partner. Okay, a chance meeting is no mistake. It is divinely orchestrated as a catalyst to set the wheels in motion for the fruition of your prayers. Pay careful attention to new people we send into your life. You will recognize them by your sense of familiarity, comfort, and safety. Okay, so I kind of feel like there's this sense of, it might be somebody that you already know, somebody that's part of your kind of soul family, your friendship group, and somebody is going to have a really significant impact on you. And I kind of feel like once you get over this hurt, this betrayal of this person who has, used and abused this lovely quality in you, this new person is going to appreciate this quality and actually be kind of receptive to it. I feel like this was an experience that you had to go through in order to kind of understand how people work a little bit more, understand more about yourself, get that strength inside of you, and to trust this more, to trust the universe, to trust yourself. And once you kind of have strengthened the ability to trust in yourself, to trust in the universe, your spirituality, once you get on that path, you're kind of, you're nurturing yourself. This new person is going to come into your life. So the chance meeting is no mistake. It will be completely random. It will be at a time when you least expect it. I'm sure that it will be at a time when you're feeling, much better than you are at the moment. If you're not feeling very good at the moment, that's kind of what I'm feeling. I feel like once you've sort of started to master this self-love and kind of working on yourself, doing things that you want to do, looking after yourself, somebody is going to see that and they're going to go, wow, this person is, amazing, incredible, and they're going to really love you for this particular aspect. And it's going to be in a time of your life where you have kind of already, you're kind of got back onto your groove, you've got back that self-assurance, you're starting to grow that, and you've sort of healed from this trauma, this kind of betrayal. And you needed to heal from this betrayal, you needed to let this go in order to meet this new person, in order to have this sort of new experience. So I really feel like it's going to be a chance meeting when you least expect it. If you're sort of sitting around kind of waiting and thinking, oh, am I going to meet this person? I wonder if it's that person. It's not going to happen like that. It's going to happen like you're just going to bump into them. You're just going to... they're just going to pop up out of nowhere, and then you're going to either see them in a different light if it's somebody that you do know, or they're going to show you this sort of different light, this different path, this new way of kind of seeing somebody as a partner. So, all amazing things. I'm very excited for you, group number 3. I really hope this resonated with you. If it did, please leave me a thumbs up. This is everything that I have for you today, and I really hope to see you in my next reading. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye. Hi guys, if you picked pile number 4 with the blue chalcedony, this is your reading, which we will find out whether you are on the right path. So, to start off, we have the 8 of Cups, we have the Hanged Woman, we have King of Earth, and we have Mintaka, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Okay, so we have 8 of Cups, which is in conjunction with the Hanged Woman. And I kind of feel like this energy is, this card is talking about introspection, looking inward to find the answer. And I feel like the Hanged Woman is about being suspended, kind of waiting in this energy of stillness, of, you're not 100% sure about something. And this is kind of looking inward and kind of trying to find the answer and not really doing anything in this moment. So I feel like this is your energy at the moment that I'm kind of sensing. And I feel like with the King of Earth here, this could be maybe perhaps you're an earth sign, so that is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Doesn't have to be, but this is kind of what's represented in the cards at the moment. And this, the King of Earth talks about, earth signs are dedicated, hardworking. This talks about big dedication and kind of being resourceful and this kind of momentum, but steady momentum, steadiness. And then we have longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. So I kind of do feel like there's this momentum here of doing the same thing, looking inward and maybe expecting a different outcome. And then this is the kind of goal, usually this is kind of represented as the goal here. So this kind of sense of belonging is really what you feel like your purpose is, perhaps feeling belonging in a group. And perhaps there's a sense of maybe there's kind of sense of loneliness a little bit because you're introspective, you've got a lot of time to kind of sit by yourself, you're kind of waiting for something, and the earth energy is kind of still, it's grounded, and this is kind of, longing for something, you're waiting for something, to happen. So let's clarify that. What is going on? So let's clarify the Hanged Woman. What is the weight about? What is this feeling of suspension? Okay, so the 7 of Swords we have here, and then let's just clarify the feeling of belonging and this sort of King of Earth energy. Oh, okay, all right. So we have the King of Cups. So we have 2 King energies here. So these are quite strong energies that are coming through. So with these 2 cards here, we have 7 of Swords, which talks about some kind of element of deception here. So it could be talking about, in terms of, being the Hanged Man and the 8 of Cups, it could be talking about you feel deceived, you're kind of being blindfolded by something. That there's something that you're not quite seeing. Maybe when you're being introspective, you're not actually seeing there's something on the outside here, which is potentially a betrayal. I don't want to scare you, I don't want to worry you. I don't think this is like a huge deal, it's just something to consider. That there is some kind of element of deception. Maybe you know what this means, maybe you kind of, maybe this resonates with you, but I'm not quite sure at the moment. But with the King of Cups energy, this kind of represents, this kind of emotional intelligence. So he's very kind of stable and mindful and good. And I kind of feel like there is this energy of like being mindful, being good, this kind of King of Earth energy of being dedicated. So perhaps there's some kind of element here of maybe there's some kind of secrecy that you're holding from somebody else or from your group that you're in at the moment that is sort of holding you back from this sense of belonging. Maybe there was some kind of conflict there, some kind of betrayal, some kind of deception, and it's sort of leaving you feeling a little bit suspended, a little bit kind of unsure and questioning yourself. So I am just going to clarify that again. I'm just going to clarify what's going on with group number 4. I'm going to clarify the King of Cups. Oh, crap. Sorry. So, okay, so you have the Wheel of Fortune. So this talks about, you know, you're on the right path, basically. The Wheel of Fortune is talking about... So I really feel like with the Wheel of Fortune, there is some kind of change that's happening or will be happening in order to kind of... Or change needs to happen in order to get this kind of sense of belonging back. I feel like this is something you've been missing, perhaps. And yeah, I mean, this kind of talks about feeling this sense that you don't really have a home, that you don't have a tribe, you kind of not really sure where you come from, where your roots are, and this sense of belonging of feeling close to other people and like you're part of a group. So I do feel like there is this sense of some kind of issue about deception. Maybe you're deceiving yourself, maybe somebody else is deceiving you in some respect. And it's kind of leaving you in this sort of limbo land of not really being sure and not being sure how to get there. But I do feel like there is going to be this dramatic change, this kind of change of events that is going to lead to this. So let's just clarify that. What is the kind of change of events that's going to lead pile number 4 into their kind of feeling of sense of belonging, and also how does this relate to them being on the right path? So we have transformation. Okay, things are changing at a cellular level, deep healing. I really feel like, you know, there's some work that needs to be done in order for you to reach this feeling of belonging. Perhaps you're searching for it in the wrong way. Maybe there's this kind of feeling of, you know, you're looking inward and being like, how can I get there? Feeling this kind of suspension, and then actually the real way to get there is actually through some kind of action, some kind of transformation. Instead of kind of hanging on in this sort of limbo of looking inward, it's kind of like some kind of action needs to be taken, this change and this transformation. And I do feel like this is the path that you're being taken on. This is like the path that you need to be going on right now. And what's sort of stopping you is this sort of feeling of this limbo feeling. So let's just clarify how can pile number 4, how can they reach this transformation? How can they kind of get, you know, on track to their path at the moment? Break the chain. Interesting. So, ancestral patterns, healing, rewriting the future. That's the second time that we've had the word healing here. I do feel like there's some kind of, perhaps there was some kind of deception that happened within a friend group that's left you feeling a little bit kind of untrusting of other people, and I feel like there's some healing that needs to happen here. There's a pattern that keeps repeating itself, and you know, this Wheel of Fortune generally speaks about sort of ending this cycle, ending this sort of pattern of things that happen and having an abrupt change. And I feel like you're the person that needs to create this abrupt change in order to have this transformation, in order to have this sense of belonging back into your life. And yeah, rewriting the future. So it's about letting go of this cycle, rewriting the future. How do you want to kind of, what do you want? What's important to you? What is it that you need to work on? What is it that you need to change? Maybe we should actually ask that question. What is it that pile number 4? What is it that they need to change? What's the change? Let's clarify that. What is the change that is going to be happening here? Pile number 4. Oh, what lights you up? Okay, so perhaps there is this sense of being in tune with yourself. Perhaps what needs to happen here is, instead of listening to other people, instead of kind of worrying about some kind of deceit that happened in the past, it's about kind of looking at kind of a way to move forward here is looking at what do you want. And it's kind of how I said before, you know, this is the change, this is catalyst, this is somebody who kind of has a lot, this is dedication, you have the dedication here, you are dedicated to change, but I feel like you need a kind of direction. So it's about working out what direction do you want to take. There's this kind of thinking and mulling things over, but then we need some action to be taken here, and transformation will happen. So it's about making a decision. I really feel like making a decision is something, and not playing it safe anymore. You've been playing it safe to kind of get to this belonging, this feeling of belonging, but I feel like it's about, instead of playing it safe to get there, instead of people pleasing, instead of kind of doing what you think that you should be doing, it's about what do you want to do, what lights you up, what is actually at your core here, what are you ignoring, what is the action that you need to take to get this change, you know, is there something you've been putting off? Okay, so I hope this resonates with you. I'm just going to take a final message, which is from the Angel Oracle deck. What is the final parting message for pile number 4, group number 4, message about whether they're on the right path, and what is their final message they need to hear at the moment? Okay, so we have confidence. So moving forward does not necessarily require you to have confidence in yourself. Confidence in God is enough, along with knowing that God works through you and with you in all ways. Lean upon us if your confidence wavers, and we will buoy your courage and faith. So you don't have to necessarily believe in God here. This is talking about believing in some kind of higher power, believing in the universe, believing that everything is going to happen, that you are sort of divinely guided, you are on the right path here, and it's sort of like, get out of your comfort zone, get out of your shell, stop kind of making, perhaps this is sort of you're deceiving yourself, you're saying, oh well no, if I do that, no, it won't get to this, no, I've got to keep kind of mulling things over, and I've got to keep kind of worrying about something, but no, it's about break that chain, break the pattern, heal yourself, rewrite your future. Okay, don't keep telling yourself the negativity that you've been telling yourself previously. Write a new story for yourself. Write a new story of, I am confident, I can make the change, I am going to do what lights me up, I am going to lead the way forward with confidence and believe in myself. And that is how you find your sense of belonging, because once you start to do something that you really truly believe in, that you truly kind of aligns with you, and that you're confident with it, that is when you're going to attract people, attract the sense of belonging, attract this kind of friendship group maybe that you've been looking for, and you know, there is going to be this dramatic change in your life, and that is the path that is going to lead you to the correct path that you need to be going on at the moment. So that is everything that I have for you. I really hope this resonated, and I hope this helped you in some way, group number 4. So if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love to see you in my next reading. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.